Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Nightmare Road. I, of course, am one of your hosts, Decon Serial Killer, and I am here with my co-host, Ash the Oracle. And today's episode's actually it's a good one. Ash is gonna take the lead,
So excited.
on this. Yeah, so we're gonna be talking about what?
The 3 Mile Island quote unquote accident.
Oh,
And the
and
reason why I got into it was I saw the Netflix documentary on it and I just kind of went on a rabbit hole.
damn, that was a crazy case, you know.
Well, and
And
Netflix didn't even include, honestly, half of the shit that went on. Like, it was so downplayed in the documentary.
yeah, a lot
It
of stuff
was,
didn't,
yeah.
because I was watching a couple of documentaries, and if it wasn't for a radio station like letting people know, they would have not let anyone know. They would have just been like, everything's fine.
They tried to play it out like everything was fine. Even the NRC tried to play it out like everything was fine.
Why do you think that was? You think they just didn't want to look bad, like because nuclear
No.
power plants was
Mm-hmm. That's exactly why. Because they were trying to bring up nuclear power plants and get away from the oil in other countries. And then this shit happened.
was this before or after Chernobyl?
I want to say this was after, because Chernobyl, I think Chernobyl was, I think that was during the Cold War, wasn't it?
I'm not entirely sure. I thought it was like in the 80s. No.
What's Chernobyl?
N-
Oh, I
Chern-
just did a short on it today, but then I watched a bunch of shit on this again, and so it slipped my brain.
Do you know when they actually officially closed down 3 Mile Island?
Okay, it never actually closed. Come to find out,
Yeah, well, they just
it is.
recently.
They are as of this year, they are trying to reopen Unit 1.
Let's see. Da-da-da-da. Yeah, so they closed it. The reactor that was the
They closed
damaged
Unit
one.
2.
Yeah,
And
so
that is still closed.
so in 2019 they closed it, but people they were still saying they could still see the steam, right? Like the people that lived around there, they were saying, because it's
It
like
was still
2009.
releasing shit.
Yeah, 2019, they're kind of like, all right, we're officially closing this plant officially. So everybody's like, yay, finally. And then, 2024, you have people taking pictures and there's like fucking steam coming out of this whole thing. Like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Well, and even workers from INL, Idaho National Lab, helped out with 3 Mile Island.
They had a nuclear meltdown, didn't they?
INL hasn't had one, not that I'm aware of.
I thought they did. Let's see.
Maybe like way back in the day, but not as recent as like something like this. Because this happened in 79.
Oh, okay.
So this isn't that long ago.
All right, so walk us through the story.
So how these nuclear plants work. So as you can like tell by what they release, they kind of work like a steam power plant. So
Yeah.
Obviously different how the heat's produced. Instead of burning like coal or gas, it's using those atomic reactions. But they don't, how it was explained to me in the documentaries I watched, they don't build them to where they could like become a nuclear bomb. They're nothing like that. They're pretty contained. Like the buildings are like 3 Mile Island. I believe the building was like 198 feet tall, 40 feet of like steel and concrete. That like this shit's contained.
Yeah, the steel wall that houses it is actually 8 inches thick. And then you have
And
the
that's
concrete on
just
top of that.
holding the nuclear core.
Yeah, to prevent it from, to become, so the way that it works, nuclear fusion, is that you take an isotope and you have it, and then you take something that's reactive to it, and that could be something that's completely like the opposite, that reacts, kind of like how magnets, when you push them together, the more you push them, the more they push back. So what they do is they take these, what they call rods, and the closer you push these rods, the more it reacts and the hotter it gets. And then the more that this and that's how you achieve a nuclear fission. So then what you don't want is nuclear fusion. You don't want everything to contain, because that's when it becomes dangerous. So through a fission engine, what happens is it gets super hot, and they use like water to cool it off, and then the steam of it is what actually powers the place.
Yep.
So that's
and
what you want.
it has to be covered with water, or that's when shit gets bad. And
yes,
that brings us to 3 Mile Island and everything that went wrong there. And here's the crazy part, is everything that happened with 3 Mile Island, from what I was seeing, most of it was human error. Maybe 2 things were system error. Majority of everything that happened leading up to everything being released was human error.
Yeah.
So these things, like there's no room for fuck ups.
Yeah, even the systems that were in place that were systematic errors, they still should have been overlooked by a person. So you should have safeguards on top of safeguards.
Which also was some mistakes made at 3 Mile Island. So here's basically what went wrong. I'm going to share this little thing that I made.
Oh, that's cool.
So this is literally happening within seconds. This isn't happening within minutes. This is literally seconds. Okay. So about 4 a.m. Okay. There's a minor malfunction in what's called like this secondary cooling system. So it causes that main feed water thing. It causes that pump to stop. Okay. So no water's going in. So 3 seconds later, the turbine trips, and that's followed by the reactor tripping. So pressure is now starting to rise. Okay. So 6 seconds in, this is so wild to me how fast this happens. It baffles me. So there's this thing called the PORV. Okay? So this PORV, it opens to relieve some of that pressure. So it should have closed when the pressure was dropping. Okay. So it remained stuck open for some odd reason. So when the reactor trips, water's rising, but the water pressure is falling. Okay. As crazy as that sounds. So 12 seconds in, finally, control room instruments are falsely indicating that the PORV is closed. So the control room instruments, they're already malfunctioning. Okay. So for the next 2 hours and 22 minutes, all of these operators, they are not aware that the vital cooling water for this nuclear core is it's pouring out of that open valve. So now you're exposing that core. Okay.
Wow, and that's crazy, because it's like, how did you guys not know?
So they had a test done on this unit 2 days earlier. One of their controls that was sounding an alarm, and I believe it was for the PORV, was covered by a yellow maintenance sticker. Nobody removed the maintenance sticker. So they had no idea. And how this control room is set up. So you have their desks here, okay? And their desks are surrounded by all these controls, kind of in like a U shape. Well, on one side of these controls, there's another set of controls behind them that aren't in view. They've changed this since this accident. Thank God they have changed it. They've changed a lot of things, but some of the controls that were sounding an alarm weren't even in view.
Jeez. So
Yeah.
it was just like, yeah. So the main thing that's letting you know, like, hey, shit's getting fucked up, was covered up by a sticker. So no one knew.
Basically, yes. Well, and
Jeez.
here's how fast a nuclear meltdown can happen. As soon as something like this malfunctions and that core is being exposed, you have 3 hours and 22 minutes till a nuclear meltdown and you are screwed. And you have something similar to a Chernobyl incident. I think they kept on calling it the China syndrome. It was a movie from back in the day, which was released like a week before this accident happened.
Jeez.
Yeah, so people have this movie in their brain, and then this happens, and you
The China.
Yeah, so as all this stuff is going on, you have houses that are like 1,000 feet away from these reactors as all of this shit's going down. You have kids catching the bus 1,000 feet away.
Yeah, that is crazy. I did see some of the pictures, and they had these pictures from somebody's yard, and you can very clearly see the facility.
Yeah.
You know what it's like? Fuck,
you can see it.
And I didn't think that. I thought that for some reason, probably because that's just the way the media portrayed it. Like, it was just, it was off.
Far away.
Yeah, it was offshore. It was out there by the ocean. But then when you actually look, I'm like, holy shit, it's just right there.
Exactly.
And that's insane.
Like, I was thinking it was something like INL that's like hidden out there. Like, you can't see it unless you go onto that land. And if you go into that land, you're probably going to get shot. So not recommended.
Yeah, and it is so weird.
It's so crazy. So 2 minutes into this, okay, so now we're 2 minutes in. So the automatic emergency core cooling system thing, it activates, but it's mistakenly making the operators believe that the reactor is too full of water when in all actuality, it's steaming up and evaporating. So the operators manually turn off the emergency water flow. So they stopped water from going in.
Jeez.
So timeline wise, we're going a little bit further. This is about 5:15 a.m. So vibrations start in the coolant pumps. So when these pumps, okay, I'm going to go to this next thing here because you can actually see it a little bit better. Okay. So did it go? Oh, well, it didn't go to the next slide. Hold on. I'm just going to share my screen.
You know what's also insane is the fact when you have a reaction like that and it's left and it gathers enough energy through fusion, what ends up happening is it starts like intaking all of the, oxygen in the environment, and it creates hydrogen, which is extremely explosive. It's a...
Oh, yeah. We're definitely getting to that, too.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. We'll definitely get to that. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen here because I think it'll be easier. Okay. So... Okay. So, as you can see, there is vibration going on in the coolant pumps because water is steaming out of that pore still, okay? So, operators are starting to get scared that the pumps are going to get damaged because those pumps are vibrating back and forth. You don't want them to do that. So, they shut down those pumps and they mistakenly stop the last method that could cool that core.
What the, like, seriously, like what the hell? And
so yeah, I don't think I ever shared my screen.
Oh, it was going to, and I think
did it share?
for 1 second.
Why
Oh,
isn't it
there you
adding
go.
to stage?
Yeah,
There
you
it
go.
is. Okay. So yeah, you have that open port up here. Okay. So they shut off all of these things. So none of that emergency water's coming in. So any water left over in here
Whoa.
is just evaporating up and it's vibrating all of these pumps. And if they vibrate together too much, it'll break them.
Yeah, just like a regular pump.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you don't have
So-
the pressure release valve.
Yeah. And so this core, if it gets hot enough, okay, which I think this core at 3 Mile Island ended up getting over 4,000 degrees.
Yeah.
So if that thing gets hot enough, it'll start melting. If that melts, okay, it forms a molten magma at the bottom. And that's what melts down. And that's when you get that meltdown. And that's when, you know, it's getting released into the environment full blast. There's no stopping it. I think they said if that would have happened pretty much pretty much the entire East Coast, they said from New York all the way down to Virginia, uninhabitable. So you're talking millions of people would have had to leave the East Coast if this would have went down.
Well, I mean, by the time they probably would have noticed, you know, they already would have been,
Yeah.
you know, contaminated. Damn, because
Exactly.
an explosion that big, I mean, holy shit! Now you're
Exactly.
launching nuclear material everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Well, and during all of this stuff that's happening, they're having personnel go into this area. They have them in protective suits, which, good Lord, redneck style, they duct tape their suits so there's no leakage into the suit. Okay. And they send them off into this area. Well,
Why would they do that?
They asked for volunteers, so they're in the clear,
that's a rough one too. They
yes.
Firefighters, didn't they? Like, hey guys, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not a regular fire, you know.
No, because radiation, you can't see it. You can measure it, but you can't see it.
Yeah,
you
but
can't
you can't
smell
see
it.
it.
It's just there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so these guys go into this area reading super high radiation. They're seeing what's happening. They run back out and they're like, you know, they're getting into the showers. I think one of the guys said that he scrubbed for like hours and it did not help. And he went home and was like telling his kids, don't touch me.
Yeah, don't touch you.
Yeah, don't touch me. So back to the plant, about 6:48 a.m., radiation alarms are starting to go off inside the control room because contaminated water from the open valve spills, they're getting into the auxiliary building, etc. So now they know radiation is being released into the environment. Okay. So finally, at 7:24 a.m., they release a general emergency at their plant. And this is the first general emergency at a nuclear power plant in U.S. history. It never happened.
Whew. Yeah, what's insane is the fact that, you know, not everybody was in the know, right? Like they didn't want to make like a big deal out of it. So, like you said, the general emergency, there was personnel that were working there in different floors or different areas that had no idea this was going on. Finally, when they had the whole emergency thing, they're kind of like, holy shit, what's happening? You know?
Yeah, it's pretty wild because I think the general public, like you said, they didn't find out until it was released on a radio station. And then that's when the press started hounding this plant and kind of going wild about it.
How did that radio? What was that radio station doing? They saw because they kept it secret, right? The get the firefighters over here, but don't say anything. And wasn't the radio station guy like, I want to find out what's going on? So he called the radio in the power plant and everybody's in such a panic that instead of him
Mhm.
getting like the lower floors, like the technicians, he got the thermonuclear scientists, and they didn't know what was
Mhm.
happening, so they started explaining to him what's happening. They're like, oh, they're like, what's going on? And he probably thought that it was management or something, and he was like, well, we might be close to a nuclear meltdown.
Mhm.
and
Well,
and
and it was about that time when they started like realizing that hydrogen I believe it was around that time they started realizing that hydrogen bubble was forming.
yes, and
Mhm.
hydrogen, I mean, holy shit, like we make hydrogen bombs, you know.
Mhm.
Think about
It's
that.
super dangerous. Any sort of like if a certain amount of oxygen hits this thing, it's going
Yeah,
kaput.
it'll ignite, it'll react. So
Yeah.
that's how we make nuclear warheads. A lot of them are hydrogen based,
Mhm.
and you take a nuclear core and you purposely split it, and then when it's split and then you launch it, when the mechanism triggers, what ends up happening is you're pushing it together. When you push it together, that creates fusion, and then it mixes with oxygen, and now you have a nuclear warhead. You have a hydrogen bomb, and then that
Yep.
can fuck up like holy shit, depending on the size,
Well,
right.
and then that gave them the bright idea of like starting to release shit.
So that's great, but they lied about it, right? They're like, well, this could happen, and they downplayed it to the
Mhm.
point where they were telling people like, well, we're no danger. Meanwhile, everybody in there is like, we're fucked, you know,
Oh
and
yeah.
they were even lying to the president, Jimmy Carter, right? Jimmy Carter was so
Mhm.
he understood that they weren't being truthful. He's like, so he's like, I'm gonna go check. That's my Jimmy Carter impression. He's like, I took a course in thermonuclear physics, so I'm gonna go check it out. And he's like, so what's happening over
The
here? I was at my
mess. Let me bring my
I,
pregnant wife with me.
I was I was over there on my peanut farm, and because I was growing so much pot, I decided to stop by. So anyway, he went, and they're trying to explain to him that, like, look, man,
This
well,
is
they didn't say it.
dangerous.
Yeah, well, they didn't say it to him like that. What they said was, look, there's a small, very, very, very small possibility this is going to ignite and blow up, but it just
We have
happens.
it
Like, it's
under
an accident.
control.
Yeah, we have it under control, and they're trying to explain to him, like, look, with nuclear power plants, this happens all the time, and this is just
It's
another,
fine. Don't worry about
like it's okay. You don't have to worry about it. So he's like, so we're fine, and he goes, yeah, and it's like, who's the guy in charge here? Oh, he left the state. It's like why, you know. So anyway, didn't they contact also the manufacturer of the containment unit for the
They
isotopes?
contacted the manufacturer, they contacted, the NRC, I think it was called what was it called?
Some stupid name.
MedTech?
I don't remember what it was called, but
I
these
watched
people
the
were,
documentary like 4 times, I should know.
yeah, I don't know. I think I read about this years ago. So
But,
did
yeah, it's
didn't they contact the manufacturer, and he was, yeah, we've been having issues with this. It's like, what?
well, and so they were looking at the records from 3 Mile Island, okay, and they had issues with this unit. Like there had been malfunctions in like the past 10 months with this unit. That was one of the reasons why they did the test 2 days before. And I think there was a buildup of this substance that happens in the nuclear reactors. I can't remember what the substance is called, but they're supposed to keep this shit clean. Like this is supposed to be like squeaky clean. It's not supposed to be dirty because it's sensitive. Like you can't fuck this shit up.
Yeah,
You're talking millions of lives at risk if you fuck this shit up. And they weren't maintaining it either.
that's nuts. I just so much
Mhm.
neglect, so much human error.
A
That's why
lot of human error.
that's why there's a lot of people out there that believe that this was done on purpose.
Mhm.
That someone was in the, and of course this is a conspiracy, guys. I'm not saying this is what happened, but there's
Big
people out there.
conspiracy.
So some people believe that around this time the Cold War was still going on, so that some of the people that were in charge of this facility were actually, Russian spies, and they're like, we're gonna fuck up this whole area. So they purposely, you know what I mean? Because if
Yes.
in reality, if you're gonna create a disaster, but you don't want to alert the country that you had something to do with it, you're gonna do it that way. You're gonna make it seem like they're the ones that fucked up. Like, you fucked up, not me. I didn't do anything.
Yeah, it's so fucked up. Like, can you imagine? Like, I would be so pissed.
Well, yeah, and what's
like, you are affecting not just me, but like you're affecting my children, you're affecting their children, and possibly their children. Like, this is my family line you're affecting.
Yeah, and what sucks is that just a large amount of dishonesty too. So you had, the media was trying to cover this, and all of a sudden they started saying like, oh, there's nothing to see here. And then you have this radio DJ who's kind of like telling people like, look, you guys need to get the fuck out of here, because this is happening, while the media was like, there's nothing is happening, you guys are fine, everything's okay, we got it under control, there's no radiation leak. And
even the president of the manufacturer, one of his quotes, I will not forget this. He said, well, why do we have to tell you everything?
Yeah, that's an insane statement.
Bitch, what? Of course you have to tell everything. You're dealing with their lives.
Yeah, and that's so weird and so sketchy. The fact that these places exist all over the United States, by the way. These super like.
Well, yeah, and they're telling, pregnant women, toddler children 5 and under, if you live within a 5-mile radius, you need to evacuate. So obviously that's going to cause a panic. Like, of course, a lot of people are going to leave. Like,
yeah, but they were being subtle about it.
Like, children and
everybody else.
I'm going to hurt you for yawning again.
I'm sorry. I'm
just time in the past half hour.
So everybody else, you're fine. There's nothing to see here. And what's interesting was the culture back then of our country. Like, for example, the country was so worried about the Russians bombing us, like with a nuke, launching a nuke, that they would do drills.
It was very fear-based.
Yeah, and in a minute, I'm gonna kind of let you know about something. So they would do drills that were called like duck and cover, where they were telling kids, like, if there's a nuclear bomb, kids, remember, duck and cover, and remember, children, don't look at the blast because you can go blind. And at no point did they mention, by the way, if you see the blast, your eyeballs are going to melt out of your head and you're fucked, like ducking and cover. That's not going to help anything. You're going to become vaporized.
Save you?
No, but that was the mentality. But what's crazy is our history. Okay, so as soon as we achieved, nuclear fusion, and we were able to weaponize it, right? A lot of people like to think of shit like, that we have warheads now. It's like, it's just like Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the atomic bomb. Atomic energy is nothing compared to, hydrogen bombs and nuclear fusion. And just to let you guys know, modern day nuclear weapons, like intercontinental ballistic missiles, they use the bomb of Hiroshima and Nagasaki as the primer to launch the main explosion. Think about that. It takes that explosion just to detonate the weapon. So people nowadays, there's a great historian. His name is Dan Carlin. He talked about how people were always terrified of damn Russians are going to get us. And people were panicked. People were scared. But they said it's like this. Imagine if somebody walks up to you, right? And they just pull a gun. They put it up to your face. And they're holding this gun there. Of course, you're going to notice the gun. You'll be like, holy fuck, this guy's got a gun to my face. Imagine if this person holds the same gun, walks next to you every single day, just pointing his gun to the back of your head. Eventually, you forget about it. You no longer notice it because this has been happening for years.
Well, okay.
Now
we are.
Now imagine if when you're born, the moment that you come out of your mother, somebody just aims a gun at you. You go throughout your whole life not noticing it, right? and you grow up and this gun is pointed at you. That's the situation we have now. People don't understand the possibility of a nuclear exchange and a possibility of a nuclear attack. Because why? Because these guns, these weapons have been around so long. We were born with a gun to our head and we don't notice, you know, and that's what it is now. So something like a 3 Mile Island is nothing, you know.
Oh, nothing compared to what could happen.
So yeah, so just think about that one.
Like 3 Mile Island could take out the East Coast. Something like what the other countries have could take out like the entire country. So
well,
put that
yeah,
into perspective.
It's insane. All right, so with 3 Mile Island,
okay,
right? They said no radiation leak. We're fine. Nothing, you know, nothing came of it. We prevented a major disaster, right?
No.
And that's what they said,
yes
right?
And no. Yes
so
and no.
The press said, you know, okay, so so this is what's crazy. So back then, people were so nervous about radiation that they would sell little kits with meters to detect radiation, right? It sounds like paper, right? Like whenever you're being radiated. So they told people, no radiation leak, we're clear. And you have people from the shore, by the way, just like kind of like holding it up, and then the little meter just kind of like looking, and they're like, what's this? And then the story changed. They're like, no, this is no different than you getting a chest x-ray. Like, you're fine. And then people's like little meters.
You want to hear something really messed up about that?
Yeah.
That I found out. I mean, it was on a documentary that I watched on YouTube. Okay. So take it for what you will. So apparently these stacks, the top of them are covered with, it's almost like a lead type lining. So the radiation that was being released was not properly detected. So there was actually like 10 times more being released than what they were stating.
That is crazy, because people were living around there. How did that affect their lives? You know? And there's people
okay. Yeah, they say majority of it, they link health problems, they're linking to like stress from the situation. But I mean, radiation, come on, that's cancer, that's birth deformities, that's animal deformities. Like, there's
how crazy was that? I heard a scientist talk about, because there was people that were, you know, 10 years later were suing, you know, the government, because they're like, holy shit, like I was born, you know, and I have this disorder. My dad developed cancer. My mother. And then what did they tell them? They're like, well, you see, the reason why your family has cancer is because everybody has more cancer now. Only now we're able to detect it. It has nothing to do with the fact that a fucking nuclear power plant, that a nuclear power plant had a meltdown.
Yeah, they put it this way. One of the documentaries that I watched, it actually really, really made me angry at the guy that was saying it. Like, he tried to like say, oh, no offense to anybody, but I was like, you fucking ass. Okay, I have a lot of family members that have had cancer, so I don't take this shit lightly. But he was like, well, you know, cancer is cancer. Everybody has cancer cells, and if you're meant to get cancer, whether it's from a cigarette or radiation, those cells are going to mutate and you're going to get cancer. And it's like, okay, but it's just as you stated, you have to put something into your body to allow those cells to mutate, or they are just already starting to mutate and you are meant to get cancer later on. That is basically how cancer cells work. Like, you have to have something to cause that mutation to happen. It's not just going to happen.
Yeah, what he said there was, he might as well have told you, like, imagine if this guy, you know, backs into, you know, one of your family members, and then he kills them, and they're like, look, she was gonna die
Shouldn't have been
eventually.
standing there.
No, not even. She shouldn't have been standing there. The whole like, look, we're all gonna die eventually, right? She wasn't gonna live forever. She wasn't gonna, be 1,000 years old. She was gonna die eventually.
Mhm.
All I did was just, place her. That's what this guy just fucking said. Like
Basically,
people get,
yes.
yeah, you were gonna get cancer either way, from cigarettes. He said from your diet. Like
Yeah.
it's a crazy statement. And what's shitty is that some of these people lost cases. People that try to sue because their child was born with deformities, when they were told you can move back to this environment, it's fine. And this fucking asshole goes to court and he's like, well,
Cancer's cancer.
you
like,
were bound to
fuck
get
you,
cancer
dude.
eventually. And then the judge is like, well, good enough for me. We're 3 judges. So it's just it's so disgusting. So I found out.
And great. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I found out today that you dwell so deep into this research that you got in contact with people that were told there's nothing to see here. Right?
So, well, kind of not. So this girl reached out to me and she sent me some pictures of like some things that like she has grown in her garden. She lives close. I'm not gonna I guess nobody's I'm
well,
not gonna
no,
give out where she lives.
don't give
That's
a
not appropriate.
don't give a
So-
location, don't give a name.
She lives in the area, okay?
Yeah.
So she sent me pictures of what like she has grown in her garden. And she also sent me like some other things. Hold on. Let me bring it up here. I'm going to turn my volume down because I don't know what's going to happen here. Okay, good thing I did. That could have been bad. Inappropriate.
And then
Okay.
after you show this, I'm gonna read something to you that was then placed and it was never removed from the FDA. Okay.
Oh God. Okay, so she told me that they do tell them that there's really nothing to worry about anymore with 3 Mile Island. Okay, that it's under control. By now they have this place cleaned up. Like as we said in the beginning of the show, they're planning on reopening Unit 1. Okay, so their cleanup process, it took 14 years and cost like $1 billion for them to clean this shit up. Okay. So she told me that every year they send them evacuation route maps in case
For what?
a nuclear something
for what?
happens.
For what? A non-operational plant? Why would they do that?
Exactly. And they have sent them to them every year. And they used to offer everyone iodine pills in case of emergency. She's not really sure if they do that anymore, though.
Yeah. So
But after this happened and they're cleaning up and they're telling people you have nothing to worry about, they're still like, here's an evacuation map. Oh, here's some iodine pills.
iodine. Yep. You can take iodine pills or you can take iodine poured in your water. You can use iodine to clear water. It makes it sanitary. So you can do that if you're like dealing with water that has microbe. But also, if there's radiation in your system and you take iodine pills, what ends up happening is the radiation will bind to the iodine and you piss it out. So your urine is radioactive. So you can literally take a meter and like measure your piss, and be like, look, this is what it looks like when the Hulk takes a piss,
So basically, you're having the radiation go out of your body into your urine, flushing it down the toilet and putting it back.
And putting it back.
What a process.
And for those people that have had a type of medical procedure where they give you just a little bit of radiation so they can detect like
An
so
X-ray.
they can just like an X-ray, or they actually inject nuclear material into your veins just that it provides enough of a glow under a certain detector, and that way they can see like where the issues are, and then they give you iodine
I've
pills
had
for you to
that.
piss it out, and they tell you things like, all right, don't come into contact with anybody for a couple days, like fluid wise, don't engage in intercourse because your semen is radioactive, so it's just things like that. So could you imagine
I've had that done.
you give somebody like a radioactive like STD?
No, so
I have
when
this guy, I have these
just listen to this
glowing love bumps growing on me.
no. So after I had my son and stuff, this was like literally 2 days after. This is the craziest story ever. My left arm started going numb. And I was like, what the hell? Am I having a stroke? Like I thought I was having a stroke. So I went and woke up my husband and I told him, my arm, it's numb. It's swollen. I can't get my rings off. What do I do? And so I'm one of those where I'm like, I don't like doctors. I don't like going to the hospital unless I absolutely have to. I'm very, very stubborn. I said, let's just wait till morning. It's fine. Just put some ice on it. So waited till morning. By morning, it was literally swollen from like my shoulder down. And come to find out, I had 2 blood clots in there. Which it's common for you to get blood clots like in your lower extremities, like your legs and stuff, after a woman goes into labor. Like that's common, but in your arms, it's not. And so they injected that shit into my arm and they told me, okay, you're not breastfeeding, are you? And I was like, fuck no. No offense to anybody that does. I just, no. Anyways, and I was like, no. And so she said, okay, you need to have someone else take care of your baby. And you cannot make any food for your children. You need to go sit in your room by yourself for about a couple days, and then you'll be fine.
Yeah, just piss out that radiation.
Yeah, so I peed out radiation into the environment. Sorry.
Yeah, nice going, you douche.
I wanted to live. Yeah. Anyways, those pictures. So this girl, she sent me pictures. I told her that I would leave the pictures as is because I told her we would give her a shout out on the show for sending us the pictures because she actually gave me a lot of information and I really do appreciate her. So let me add this to the screen. So I have a question for you, Decon, before I show these pictures. Okay.
Yes.
How many 4-leaf clovers have you found in your life?
How many 4-leaf clovers have I found?
Mm-hmm. In your lifetime.
I found one, and I believe it might have been in 2001, maybe. And then I never saw one again.
So, super rare, right? Super rare.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people can find them. Okay. This is from this girl's yard. Okay.
Holy shit.
Those are all 4-leaf clovers in her yard.
So, yeah, and the 4 leaves come from a mutation in the plant.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's like 1 out of like 50,000 or some shit like that.
Exactly. So this should not be happening all in one little spot in somebody's yard. Like that's weird, okay? And these pictures are like recent. They're not like from the like when this happened. These are recent, okay? So this next picture I'm going to show you. So she planted dwarf sunflowers, okay? Now, dwarf sunflowers get maybe 12 inches tall, 14 max. Okay, they don't get very big. And she even took the seeds in, had them checked, made sure they were dwarf sunflowers. Do those look like dwarf sunflowers to you?
No, those are gigantic. And really quick about
Those are
the four-leaf
huge.
clover. If you're in an area where there's a lot of four-leaf clovers, they say that the odds of you finding a four-leaf clover is 1 in 10,000.
And she had, how many were there? There were almost 10, I think, 8 to 10, if you
In a
counted all of them in those
Yeah, in a
pictures.
small area. That's insane.
Yeah.
And those are
sunflowers,
those are dwarf sunflowers?
those are supposed to be dwarf sunflowers.
What's the height on those? How tall are those, do you think?
Okay, I've grown dwarf sunflowers.
As
They
have I.
maybe
Yeah.
this big. Maybe
Biggest I've
max
ever
that big.
biggest I've ever seen was maybe 2.5 feet.
Yeah, maybe. Okay,
Yeah.
those are like full grown, like you bought sunflowers, like ones to like grow the seeds out of. Like those look like ones that I've grown.
Yeah, those are giant sunflowers.
Those are huge. So
Yeah.
now this next one I think is the craziest, okay? Because I have grown Brussels sprouts as well. When I lived in Oregon, I had a huge garden. I grew different shit every year, okay? I've grown Brussels sprouts. They don't get very big,
No.
okay? They maybe get that big.
That's a big one.
Okay. Yeah. And that's like max. That is huge. Okay. So this was grown in her garden.
Jeez Louise.
That's.
Oh, jeez. Look at that. That looks like a set of testicles.
Like, I was just like, that is the biggest freaking Brussels sprout I think I have ever seen in my life.
I've grown Brussels sprouts. Normally they get like the size on the one on the right.
Exactly. They
What
don't
the
get very big.
That is crazy.
So there's something still
In the soil.
Over there. There's no way there's not. There you can't explain that.
So, want me to tell you what
Especially
the FDA
that
says?
Brussels sprout.
Yeah, that's crazy. That looks like those truck nuts. You remember those? They used to hang on those trucks.
Did you know that those are illegal in Idaho now?
Why?
Think about it. We live in a very highly populated LDS area. It probably offended 80% of the state. And then the other 20% that were offended were senior citizens.
Huh? You think you're better than me because you have both your nuts?
I'm sorry. People over the age of, I'm going to say,
I would say 50.
55, they just get offended by the word dick.
Yeah,
and
nice
penis
going there.
and wiener.
Sean Burris. Penis,
Unless
yeah.
you're my parents.
We
then
knew
you don't
somebody
give a shit.
that was like, oh, I'm this super edgy person and I get dragged to HR every fucking day, and then said the word penis, and all of a sudden it was like the worst thing in the world, gave them PTSD. You know who you
That
are.
was so funny, though. I laughed so hard. I was like, are you
And-
really afraid of the word penis? Like, I say
Yeah.
penis in front of my kids. It's a body part.
Penis, and how dare you? You know who you are. Should be ashamed of
Like,
yourself,
I
lady.
would rather my kids know that word instead of them being like, oh, my wee-wee. No, I want you to say the word, because if somebody is evil, I'd rather you tell me what the fuck happened.
Like Pekka. All right. So,
Yeah.
all right. So people were complaining about.
Sorry.
About their vegetation, their grass was coming out, and it was kind of like curling in, and then they're like, what the hell is going on? So they ended up reporting it to the government, like, hey, ever since this non-meltdown happened, everything, vegetation is acting weird.
Everything
These
is
trees
weird.
are facing away, like they're beginning to bend the opposite direction, like
Mhm.
trying to get the hell away from the. So anyway, so then the FDA released this. Food irradiation is a safe FDA-approved process that uses ionizing radiation to kill bacteria, pests, and inhibit sprouting in fruits and vegetables. extending their shelf life without making them radioactive. It causes minimal comparable nutrient loss. The cooking and low dose treatment can enhance antioxidant levels. Okay, note. In the context of cancer care, patients undergoing radiation treatment are often advised to avoid eating radiated vegetables if they have severe diarrhea, or if you have severe diarrhea, but otherwise they're a part of a healthy diet. That is in the FDA now, still to this day.
Cute.
So basically what they're saying is, you know,
Cute.
yeah, if there's radiation, it's fine. You should be okay. But by the way, if you get like severe diarrhea, like stop eating vegetables. You know how crazy that is?
Oh my
Yeah, so there you go.
Merca, everybody.
America, I love it here though.
Merca.
I will say this. I have been to many places in the world, right? And to me,
yeah.
after what?
Nothing. Go.
And to me, seeing a large part of the world, it really, I get why people risk their lives to come to this country. You know, like this is the best country in the world. This is the only country in the world that pledges allegiance to a document, not to a person.
It's true.
Yeah,
I
anyway.
need to be living in a place where free speech is there because I'm really mouthy.
Oh, you mean like America?
Yeah, I'm a mouthy bitch. I belong here.
Anyway, the United
I'm an
America.
asshole.
If you cut my
America,
veins open
folks.
right now, my blood is red, white, and blue. Anyway, so that's it. So is that it? Is that all we got for the 3?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what you didn't cover?
What?
You know what you
What?
didn't cover?
You scared? What?
The animals that wash ashore from 3 Mile Island.
Oh, I did not. Yeah.
You guys look that up.
You cover that part because you dived into that part a little more than I did.
Okay, so even though the plant, like I said, is no longer operational, even though there's videos of people sitting there at the shore looking up and all this steam coming out from, like, why is there still steam coming out? Every
That's
once in
from
a
the
while.
cleaning, duh.
Yeah, okay. I guess. Well, I'm an idiot. So animals wash ashore and then they're like, what the fuck is this? You know, so let me see if I can quickly, we're gonna have to fix this in So they have creatures that wash ashore, and for example, so they have pictures of birds like emerge. You can't see that well, but anyways, there's like birds with fused with like 2 heads. From 3 Mile Island, you have plants that are emerging. Yeah. You have a bird with 6 legs. And the most famous one of all, where is this piece of shit? This fucking thing.
Oh, wait. Let me share my screen. I think I found what you're looking at.
So people don't know what it is. People have nicknamed it like the Montauk Monster. You know, by the way, here's a picture of the non-operational plant.
Non-operational.
Yeah.
I think I found some animals on Google.
Non-operational plants.
These animals? Can you see it? Did I add it?
I cannot.
Hold on. Let me add it to the stage.
Oh, there you go. Now they're... Yeah, look at that shit.
Look at this goat thing.
That's a cow, ma'am.
Or that's a cow. Sorry. I clearly don't know my farm animals.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that non-operational plant. I mean, yeah. Crazy. So
It's
So,
pretty wild, guys.
so anyway, yeah, look at all this shit. It's like, it's insane. You know,
It is so wild.
next we should cover
Yeah.
Chernobyl. So,
I was
right,
just gonna say we should do Chernobyl next.
So back in 2010, I believe, I watched a documentary that was called The Radioactive Wolf. And it was basically these wolves that were now coming into Chernobyl, you know, and they were just like eating the deer that were there. And then so they tranquilized one and they brought it and they're analyzing it. And then this fucking thing was radioactive. You know, everything from its piss to its fecal matter. So they have these wolves that no mutation at all. There was no deformities, even though the radiation levels were pretty high. And like, this fucking thing should be dead. So, but they're not. So they call them the radioactive wolves of Chernobyl. So imagine the howl at night, just and they're glowing.
No.
So,
No.
and then
scary.
Adam Sandler comes out. He's like, "Oh boy, there I was in Chernobyl, and I heard a werewolf." Oh boy. Anyway, so this episode was
he's one of my favorite humans.
So this episode was brought to you by Lottie. So you guys go get yourself a witch box, you know, and use the promo code Nightmare. Oh, where's she going? Use the promo code Nightmare and get 15% off any purchase that is above $35. Also brought to you by the Shadow Nation podcast.
Hold on, back to Loot by Lottie.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. Oh, look at that.
It's so freaking cool.
How much was that?
Well, she was doing make an offer, which she's actually doing that right now. So in addition to the discount code, she's also doing make your offer on all of her witch boxes, all of her products, everything. So don't lowball her, but make an offer. This was one of her make an offer items, and I offered her 15 for it.
No shit. You got a spell book for $15. How many spells do you think are in there?
Hold on, I could actually tell you. 66.
Damn, that's a lot. Yeah, for 15, that's crazy. So if you guys were smart and you guys are, you know, into the craft, like that's one of the things you have to get, because a lot of people, what they do is they take their spells and now they download them or they have them on their computer, and then one day something happens and everything's gone and you're like, damn it, I spent all that time when you could have had a book. You know. Yeah, also, it's so much cooler, so much, and it's more personal too. Like having the physical book, it's so much more personal. Anyway. Shadow Nation podcast, Sean Burris, Groceries and Ghosts, the Shadow Man, the Ghost Man, Sean Burris. So he is making content.
Did you see his new TikTok video?
No.
You gotta go watch his new TikTok video. It's fabulous.
I just look at the naked picture I have of him. So.
Oh my.
Yeah. So he's making a comeback. So. Guys, stay tuned. He's gonna have, you know, his stuff out pretty soon. I've watched some of it. It's actually pretty badass. So stay tuned.
It's supposed to be on here soon, but Decon is taking his sweet ass time on getting him on. But it's fine.
No, he's got to get all his stuff out there. That way, he's not pressed for time. So also, this episode is brought to you by.
Oh, here we go. Book Talk. You're too quiet.
Static Voices, Paranormal Nate, and he just released a book called Radioactive Erotica with radioactive ghosts. So go ahead and download his book. Nate, we got to have him back on. I mean, he's a great friend of the show. Great guy. Fucking fantastic. Entertaining as hell.
So awesome.
Really smart. One of my good friends. He's, you know, an amazing person. You know,
I want to be Nate or Sean when I grow up.
I don't want to be neither. I want to date them. So yeah, great dude. So just check him out. He's got his show. What is it called? Paranormal Unveiled.
And it's on Wednesdays.
It's that's what I was gonna ask you. When is it on? On Wednesdays. So do you remember the time?
On A&E Network, 7:30, I believe.
Okay, so yeah, so
Right?
just go ahead.
7:30.
Probably. So just go ahead and check him out. He's a great stuff. And then we have friends of the shows, of the show. Here we have, Render the Darkness. Great couple of gals. Super fun.
You ready for me?
What?
Nothing. Go ahead.
So pretty soon we're gonna
Okay.
go on their podcast. Within a couple of weeks, we got to get the dates right and kind of figure out what we're doing. But we're gonna be a guest on their show. Also, another friend of the show, Dreamscape Chronicles. Check them out on Spotify. That's Dreamscape Chronicles. Also, Render the Darkness. Check them out. Like and subscribe. And also by TeePublic. TeePublic. Check out the art. Get a mug. Get a shirt. Get a sticker. Find a hobo on meth. Put a sticker on his face. And yeah, didn't do that. What else? I
I don't even know what to say to you anymore.
think that's it.
Okay.
So that's about. Also check out our link tree, join our Facebook page, join the Discord, join all that good stuff. Join friends of the show. We have, for example, the House of Ashes. Our good buddy Old Boy. So check out his stuff. He's a great guy. Holy shit. Author, had several podcasts, investigator. The guy, does it all. So
He's such a badass.
super nice guy. That's one thing I will say. He's super nice dude. We had him on the show. Great dude. So yeah, so go ahead and check out his stuff. And that's it. So remember, guys, to always look both ways, especially if you have radioactive vegetables.
Wow. Okay, bye.
You're still recording.